Mars has been part of the night sky for all of recorded history. No single person ever discovered it. It's simply always been there, captivating human imagination. For centuries, this reddish world has inspired everyone from ancient astronomers watching its glow to modern scientists searching for signs of life. This video showcases some of the most extraordinary images ever captured on the red planet. Towering canyons, frozen craters, swirling clouds, and delicate mineral formations that hint at ancient oceans long vanished. Every photo you'll see comes courtesy of NASA, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the European Space Agency, and a tireless fleet of orbiters and rovers that have explored Mars for decades without ever stopping for a coffee break. These images reveal that Mars is far more than a distant desert. It's a world shaped by water, wind, volcanoes, and time, a place where history, mystery, and the future of human exploration all collide. And today, it remains the most promising destination for humanity to become a multi-planetary species. Welcome to another episode of FuturePulse. This is where we share some of the most fascinating facts and the most extraordinary images of Mars. We hope you enjoy the journey and discover something new along the way. Before we begin the Mars slideshow, here are a few fascinating facts you might not know. If a human stepped onto Mars without a protective suit, they'd be in serious trouble within seconds. With almost no air pressure, your blood would start to boil, temperatures could drop below -60 degrees Celsius, and there's no oxygen to breathe. A suit isn't optional, it's survival. Temperatures can swing more than 100 degrees Celsius in a single day. In the afternoon, it might be a relatively mild 20 degrees Celsius, but after sunset, it can plunge below -80 degrees Celsius. Future habitats must be designed to withstand these brutal extremes. More than 50 missions have tried to reach Mars, and over half have failed. It's one of the most technically challenging places to explore, and every success represents decades of planning and engineering. Dust storms on Mars can blanket the entire planet for weeks. These massive storms darken the sky, cut off solar power, and reduce visibility to almost nothing until they finally clear. Communicating with Mars isn't instant. When Earth and Mars are closest, around 78 million kilometers apart, a radio signal takes just over 4 minutes to arrive. When they're on opposite sides of the Sun, the delay stretches to about 22 minutes one way. Real-time conversations simply aren't possible. Gravity on Mars is about 38% of Earth's. If you weigh 80 kilos here, you'd feel like you only weigh about 30 there. Lower gravity makes lifting easier, but leads to bone loss and muscle weakening over time. A year on Mars lasts 687 Earth days, almost twice as long as a year here. Every season and every mission takes much longer to unfold. A day on Mars is called a sol. Each sol lasts about 24 hours and 37 minutes, just a little longer than an Earth day. Mission planners track activities by sols, as sunrises and sunsets don't align neatly with Earth time. Mars has two tiny moons, Phobos and Deimos. They're oddly shaped, probably captured asteroids. Phobos orbits so quickly it rises in the west and sets in the east, twice every Martian day, creating a sky that feels completely alien. Seasons on Mars last twice as long as ours. Each can stretch for about 6 months, affecting surface temperatures and the amount of sunlight reaching solar panels. The sky on Mars is usually a dusty pink, thanks to fine iron-rich particles suspended in the atmosphere. But at sunset, the sky near the Sun glows blue as those particles scatter light differently from Earth's skies. The atmosphere is less than 1% as thick as Earth's. Any exposed liquid water boils away almost instantly, even in freezing temperatures, because the pressure is so low, water can't stay liquid. It either freezes solid or evaporates straight into vapor. The most recent rover to land on Mars is NASA's Perseverance, which touched down in February 2021 as part of the Mars 2020 mission. Today, several robotic explorers are still active on the surface. Perseverance continues to search for signs of ancient life. Curiosity has been studying Gale Crater since 2012, and China's Zhurong Rover landed in 2021, though it went into hibernation in 2022. Welcome to this journey across Mars. Get ready to explore some of the most extraordinary images ever captured on the red planet. Towering canyons, frozen craters, hidden minerals, and quakes that hint at a restless world. Each slide reveals a new layer of Mars' secrets. Let's dive in. The Curiosity rover discovered this rock, smaller than a penny, that resembles a flower or piece of coral within Gale Crater on 24 February 2022. The small pieces in this photo were created billions of years ago when minerals carried by water cemented the rock. NASA's Curiosity rover used 2 cameras to create this selfie in front of Mont Mercure, a rock formation that stands 20 feet tall. The Ingenuity helicopter captured this color image of Mars from 16 feet above the planet's surface in April 2021. It was the first color image ever taken during flight by a rotorcraft on Mars. This perspective of Mars' Valles Marineris hemisphere from the 9th of July 2013 is actually a mosaic comprising 102 Viking orbiter images. At the center is the Valles Marineris Canyon system, over 2,000 kilometers long and up to 8 kilometers deep. This photo of a preserved river channel on Mars was taken by an orbiting satellite, with color overlaid to show different elevations. Blue represents low areas and yellow marks higher ground. The European Space Agency's Mars Express mission captured this 2018 image of the Korolev crater, more than 50 miles across and filled with water ice near the North Pole. The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter used its high-rise camera to obtain this view of an area with unusual texture on the southern floor of Gale Crater. Although Mars isn't geologically active like Earth, surface features have been heavily shaped by wind. Wind-carved formations such as these, called yardangs, are common on the red planet. On the sand, the wind forms ripples and small dunes. In Mars' thin atmosphere, light is not scattered much, so the shadows cast by the yardangs are sharp and dark. These small, hematite-rich concretions are near Fram Crater, visited by NASA's Opportunity rover in April 2004. The area shown here is only 1.2 inches across. The view comes from the microscopic imager on Opportunity's robotic arm, with color information added from the rover's panoramic camera. These minerals suggest that Mars had a watery past. This image shows seasonal flows in Valles Marineris on Mars, known as recurring slope lineae, or RSL. These Martian landslides appear on slopes during the spring and summer. This composite image, looking toward the higher regions of Mount Sharp, was taken in September 2015 by NASA's Curiosity rover. In the foreground is a long ridge teeming with hematite. Just beyond is an undulating plain rich in clay minerals, and further back are a multitude of rounded buttes, all high in sulfate minerals. The changing mineralogy in these layers suggests a changing environment in early Mars, though all involve exposure to water billions of years ago. High-rise captured layered deposits and a bright ice cap at the Martian North Pole. Nili Patera is a region on Mars in which dunes and ripples are moving rapidly. High-rise on board the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter continues to monitor this area every couple of months to see changes over seasonal and annual timescales. This image, combining data from 2 instruments aboard NASA's Mars Global Surveyor, depicts an orbital view of the North Polar region of Mars. The ice-rich polar cap is 621 miles across, and the dark bands are deep troughs. To the right of center, a large canyon, Chasma Boreale, almost bisects the ice cap. Chasma Boreale is about the length of the United States Grand Canyon and up to 1.2 miles deep. A dramatic, fresh impact crater dominates this image, taken by the high-rise camera in November 2013. The crater spans approximately 100 feet and is surrounded by a large, rayed blast zone. Because the terrain where the crater formed is dusty, the fresh crater appears blue in the enhanced color of the image, due to the removal of the reddish dust in that area. Is that cookies and cream on Mars? No, it's just polar dunes dusted with ice and sand. The two largest quakes detected by NASA's InSight appear to have originated in a region of Mars called Cerberus Fossae. Scientists previously spotted signs of tectonic activity here, including landslides. This image was taken by the high-rise camera on NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. This beautiful image of Mars's south pole was captured by ESA's Mars Express orbiter in 2015. There is evidence for liquid water beneath the icy surface. The high-rise camera aboard NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter captured this oblique view of Victoria Crater on 18 July 2009. The Mars Exploration Rover Opportunity spent more than a Martian year exploring Victoria Crater, from September 2006 through August 2008, partially circumnavigating it before entering briefly to examine the steep cliffs up close. NASA's Perseverance rover found this intriguing rock in 2022, nicknamed Chayava Falls, after a famous waterfall in Arizona. The rock shows hints it could have supported living microbes billions of years ago, but for now, there is no way to be sure if life ever existed there. The rock measures about 1 meter by 0.6 meters and is mostly reddish, with thin veins of white calcium sulfate that probably formed when water flowed through fissures, depositing minerals in the cracks. The most complete catalogue of clouds on Mars, published in 2021, has revealed the planet's dazzling array of atmospheric phenomena, including some unlike anything seen on Earth. Mars' atmosphere is thin and made up primarily of carbon dioxide. When condensed by cool temperatures and mixed with dust and water vapor, it can create striking cloud patterns. Since arriving in 2018, NASA's InSight lander has recorded thousands of Marsquakes, including some surprisingly large ones that reveal the planet is more active than we thought. Most quakes happen during the summer, mainly in the northern regions, shaking the ground up to 10 times a day before falling silent for the rest of the year. This pattern repeated over 2 Martian summers, with the second summer in 2021 producing twice as many quakes. The cause of this seasonal surge remains a mystery, but the findings, based on over 1,000 quakes, suggest Mars might not be geologically dead and could even be volcanically active after all. These yellow crystals on Mars were exposed in May 2024 when the Curiosity rover drove over a rock and cracked it open. The crystals are made of pure elemental sulfur, something never seen on the red planet before. This odd rock is one of a handful discovered on Mars in 2023 and 2024. Some of these finds carry lessons about the history of water on Mars and its potential to support life.
Thanks for watching this far. If you've made it here, you're a fan of Mars just like us. One day, footsteps will follow these rover tracks. Until then, our curiosity will keep reaching across the void. We're also working on a 5-episode series about colonizing Mars. Subscribe now to be the first to watch when it launches. Stay tuned, there's much more to come.